I'm back with another video. Today I wanted to share with you a December wrap-up. In December I usually don't read very much, and this wasn't very much different. My cat always wants to make her presence known in my videos, so you can probably hear her in the background. So in December I ended up reading 6 books. December is never my best reading month in a year, and I was hoping I could read more because I wanted to finish my Goodreads goal, but I didn't. But yeah, it's fine, it is what it is. So in December I ended up reading 6 books. I read a total of 2,556 pages. I read 2 books that were a physical book, 1 ebook and 3 audios. And I had 2 at DNF, so that's also one of the reasons why I put 2 books down. Those were When the Moon Hatched was one of them that I was trying to read for the Romantasy category, and then I also DNF'd A Dark and Drowning Tide. A Dark and Drowning Tide I didn't really jive with the writing style, and so I didn't want to continue with it. And When the Moon Hatched, it's just I had enough of the Romantasy, and it wasn't really, didn't really like it, and it was really long. A lot of the books that I read this month was actually quite long. I do have one book that was only 200 something pages, and I had one was regular length, but then the remaining 4 books were over 400 pages at least. I had the 3 of them that were over 500, so I feel like I've definitely read my fair share of pages. But I said that I had 2 DNFs, and then I had 4 4-star reads, 1 4.5-star reads, and 1 5-star. So I may not have read a lot of books, but all of the books that I read that finished I actually really like. So quality over quantity is what I said. And in terms of genres, I read 3 fantasy books. I put them in here because I don't have one for Romantasy. And one of them I put under romance because I felt it was more romance than it was fantasy. So yeah. And then so 1 romance, and then I read 1 mystery and 1 book that was other book I didn't know how to categorize. So those were some of the statistics for the month. The first book I finished in December was Games Gods Play by Abigail. Owen. This is the first book in a new series. It follows it follows Greek mythology. We're following a woman in a world where the gods decide that they want to have sort of a championship thing with they pick out different humans and makes them fight against each other, sort of like Hunger Games, and one winner at the end. And it doesn't necessarily mean that everyone has to die in order for the other one to win, but there's just some challenges, and the first one to finish and complete them and have most victories in these wins. So there are, I think, each of the gods have 1 competition or something like that they decide on and how to rail, and then yeah, whoever has the most wins in the end will win this thing. And we're following the perspective of a woman who's called Lucy, and she has a curse surrounding her because Zeus cursed her when she was not even born, that no one was ever going to be able to love her. And Hades sort of runs into her at the beginning, and then they decide that she's going to be the champion for him. And so this is how she's swept into this competition, and Hades and her, they have a sort of interesting bond, and they form a friendship relationship as the time progresses. I end up super enjoying this one. I didn't know what to expect. I do love a sort of Greek mythology based books, and I thought the competition here was really good. It was well balanced between what was happening between the competitions and what was happening at the competitions. They were really brutal, and there was a lot of casualties that were difficult, and I really liked our main character Lucy, and I thought that her relationship with Hades turned out to be interesting, but I don't think that Hades I'd like probably to see Hades with a different personality a little bit, but also because of how we know him. But on the other hand, I ended up enjoying this quite a lot, and I ended up giving it actually 4.5 stars. So it's a really good start to the month. So definitely do recommend it if you come across it. And the audio was actually pretty good. The next thing that I finished was The Spellshop by Beth Durst. This was also the start of a series, and this was also nominated in the Romantasy category for the Goodreads Choice Awards. I don't really know why this is considered Romantasy. It's more of a cozy fantasy. It has sort of, we're following this woman who moves back into a small town. It's on an island, and it's set in a world where the city and the president type people has sort of taken over all of the, it's probably kings in this world, I forgot, but they have all of the, no one's allowed to use magic, and they've forgotten sort of the outskirts of the land, so that they can't really grow crops and stuff, and so they have a really difficult time. But she comes out to this small island and finds out the small town community, how they're helping each other, and sort of falls into the rhythm of that, and she is able to do magic. She sort of fled the big city because she a library she was working for, she's sort of a librarian, burned down, but she was able to save some of a lot of the books, and that was what she was trying to take with her, so that the sort of the spell books of this place, and she has to hide them away, and no one was able to, should be finding them, so she's hiding away in this town and don't really want to be getting along with people, and yeah, so yeah, and there's also Kelpies. They're sort of breeding Kelpies like her neighbor, and that is the romance interest in this. It took a really long time for me to actually get invested in this. I don't think necessarily cozy fantasy is my thing, but I still ended up actually enjoying it at the end, because I think it came together in the later half. I just didn't really like our main character in the beginning, but I like the sort of, there's some side characters that I really enjoyed, and I don't want to spoil too much, but one of them is a plant. Anyway, I like them, and I don't know if I followed the romance too much, but you know, it was fine for what it was. I like that small town vibe, so that made up for a lot of it as well. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars because it did come together in the end, but I don't think I'm going to continue with the series. So the next thing I read was Phantasma by Kaylie Smith. This is the first book in another series, and this is sort of where the first book I read was a competition. This one is as well. It's a lot darker. We're following a woman who is come from a family of necromancers, and her mother passes away early in this book, and she suddenly has to, she inherits the powers of necromancy, as well as she is feels like she has to take care of her sister Guinevere and take over the estate, but then find out there's money problems and they might have to sell it. And Genevieve suddenly disappears, and the only clue she has is sort of this game called Phantasma. So she decides to try and get into this as well in order to try and find her sister. And when she gets into this game, yeah, it's really brutal, and she doesn't know who to trust. But she does find a guy named, I've forgotten the guy's name, but he helps her with a different task, because he finds that if they work together, they might be able to remove a spell that's put on him. He's sort of a phantom, and can't really leave the game. And there's a lot of good things in this one. The competitions were really brutal, like same vein as the games guards play. But I didn't really like our main character. I think she was very standoffish towards other people, and the relationship between her and our main male character was not my favorite. I don't think that it was very sudden and very abrupt, and you didn't really, I didn't really feel the romance happening. It was just a lot of lusting, and then when there were sex scenes, there was so many sex scenes, and it was just very abrupt in a way, and a way that I didn't really care for. So that dragged it down. But on the other hand, I really enjoyed the game, the elements, and there was a plot twist at the end that I hadn't seen coming, and that was really, really interesting, and definitely made up for the majority of the book, and I ended up reading like the last bit really, really fast. So definitely recommend this, and I think it has a lot of hype right now, so I definitely recommend you check it out if you are interested in it. And I love the cover of this. I think it's very, very stunning. Yeah, if you like games, books that set around games, if you like a little darker, then I think you'll find some enjoyment in this. And maybe you like a lot of spice in your books, then there's probably something for you as well. I don't mind spice in my books, but I don't mind it, but I just think that it has to be sort of, yeah, makes sense when the sort of scenes happen in a way, and it has to be, yeah, that's just my only gripe with it. But I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, so it's definitely still a good book, but not as good as Games God's Play for me. I had to sort of try and, I compared them a lot because they were sort of set around a game and all of that, and it reminded me of each other, but I preferred the other one over this. Next thing I read was Yuletide Yowl by Danielle Garrett. This is I think most recent book in this series. It is a Christmas set, cozy mystery. We are following our main character. I keep forgetting what she's called because I only remember the cat's name, Celine. The cat does have a lot of personality, so she takes up a lot of the book. Anyway, in this one, there's a Christmas market in the small town, and it's a very popular Christmas market because they have sort of magical abilities, a lot of them, so there's sort of enchantments in these things, and people goes there to try and find some magical thing. But then someone wants to sabotage the Christmas market and has sort of destroyed, burnt down some of the stands and made things happen. And then there's also like some of people who's been sabotaging the Christmas tree so that they can't sell anything. So they're trying to figure out who wants to destroy the Christmas, and yeah, so trying to save it. And I really liked it. It was very festive and very fitting for the season. So I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. It was nice. It was not actually really a murder in this one. So I like that in this book, and yeah, gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Another book that I read that was a Christmassy book was the Christmasaurus and the Naughty List. This is the 3rd book in the Christmasaurus series that Tom has published. He has just recently published one that's called The Christmasaurus Carol, I think. But this one, I really enjoyed it. It's probably my least favorite in the series, so I give it 4 out of 5 stars, but I still really enjoy them. They have a lot of things going for them, and there was a time in this that I thought about my nephew. There's I think one of the first thing, the thing is that, so what happens is that a lot of people has been added to the naughty list, and the nice list has become shorter. So the Santa has a hard time remembering things and isn't able to do his job when there's too many people on the naughty list. And so the Christmasaurus in secret goes out to try and find these people and make them see reason, and hopefully with that, but he can't talk obviously, so he has to sort of do something in order for them to see that things should be, they could act differently, and hopefully in that way balance it out. And so that's in the beginning, the first, I think the place they got to was a guy who, there's actually 2 brothers. They where the little brother, had done everything together before. They were playing ping pong, they were ping pong champions. No, they were going to ping pong championships and just about lost to the winners and wanted to come back the next year and fight for the championships. But then the older brother got a video game, I feel like a Nintendo Switch or something like that, and I got completely absorbed in that video game, and we couldn't come in contact with him, and he didn't do anything for a year, and our little brother just wanted to play ping pong, but he forgot about him. And so the thing that I thought about with my nephew is obviously that my nephew has become completely obsessed with playing Minecraft and all of these different things, and sometimes when he sits with his Nintendo Switch, you can't really get into he plays Minecraft on his iPad, I believe, and then he plays different games on his Nintendo Switch as well. But when he plays, you can't really get in contact with him, he can sort of be completely absorbed in that, but not in the same way, obviously. It was but it was fun to see this, and I told my nephew about it, and and he didn't, and he thought it was a little bit funny. So I'm really sad that these books hasn't been translated into Danish, because I'd love to give them to my nephew. I think he would have a lot of things. It would be a good book for him right now. He's just turned 6, and he loves getting stories told, and he loves seeing images, and it's filled with little with illustrations all the way throughout the book. And obviously the font is large and stuff. So yeah, I absolutely adore them. Whoops. So yeah, it is a lot of fun, and also these end pages are always stunning as well. And yeah, a lovely book, 4 stars, but still not up there with the 2 previous books, but I still love his books, and Tom is one of my favorite people in the whole world. Last book that I read for December, and I feel like it's my favorite book of the year, is Daughter of the Forest by Juliet Marillier. This is the first book in the Seven Waters series, and this is romantic fantasy, very slow build, but we're following this girl. She was supposed to be the 7th son of the 7th son, but obviously became a girl, and she has a really strong bond with her brothers. Her mother passes away shortly after her birth, and at this point in time when the book starts, she's 13, I believe, and she's good at sort of taking care, like she's doing healing and stuff for people. She's able to use sort of magical things in order to heal people. She uses sort of, she knows about different herbs and stuff, so that's what she uses. It is on Celtic folklore. It's more of a historical set fantasy with a few fantastical elements and folklore stuff happening. But we're following her, and in the beginning she is sort of trying to take care of this boy who is a Briton. Yeah, and he's very, very worse for wear, but she is trying to take care of him even though he's the enemy, because she doesn't like to see anyone suffering. And she's doing this in secrecy, but then suddenly she has to go back to her home, because her father has just met a new woman, and he decides to marry, is intent on marrying her. And immediately she sees that there's something wrong with this woman. She might be a sorceress, and there's something with her eyes and stuff that makes her uncomfortable. And all of the guys, the sons and stuff, they have seen this as well. What happens is that after they are married, they try to do some spell to in order for guidance on how to stop her. But then she shows up and puts a curse on all of the boys. They turn into swans, and she has to sort of keep silence all over the book. She can't utter a word, and not a sound, not anything. I don't know how much I get into spoiler territory, but she obviously has to do something in order to remove the spell, and until that is happened, she can't utter a word in any way. So she's basically spending the majority of this book completely mute. And then she, a lot of the time she also spends on her own, but then she meets up with this man who takes her in, and she's on enemies territories for a long time in this book as well. Super love this one. It was just my kind of fantasy, but I don't think it's for everyone, because it's very quiet. There's not a lot of stuff happening. So if that's not your thing, if it's not your thing, then don't look this up. But if you do enjoy these sort of quieter fantasies, then I think you'd really enjoy this. The romance in here was also really cute. It was slow burning, and it wasn't sort of taking over anything, but there was romance happening, and I'm really looking forward to the next one. I don't know why I thought that we were going to be following the brothers, but it seems like we're not, but I'm looking forward to seeing the next books anyway. I've just ordered the second book of the series, so I can move on with the series, but highly recommend this if you enjoy this type of fantasy that I talked about. And hopefully, Juliet Marillier has just become a possibility for a new favorite author, but I have to read more books in order to figure out if this is the thing. But the thing that this is her debut novel makes me is quite awesome actually. I don't actually remember, I don't know when this was published, so hold on. It's copyrighted to Juliet Marillier in 1999. So it might be the first time it was published. Love the setting, love the people, the characters and everything. So looking forward to reading on in the series. So these were all of the books that I read in December. Let me know in the comments down below what you read in December, and if you have any books that you want to recommend to me. Have you read in the books that I read, and what were your thoughts on them? Do you agree with mine? I hope you had some lovely Christmas times and maybe a great New Year's festivities as well. And yeah, anyway, this is everything I had for today. If you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you in the next video very, very soon. Goodbye.